You know? Sometimes I question how could an imaginary car in a video game can be more realistic than an actual car. Big yikes from me, lads. Today's lesson is how to not make a supercar. But first, let's talk about the car itself, which I am going to admit I have a strange relationship of love, hatred, and confusion with. I love this car enough to recommend it as a good purchase, and also hate enough to roast it so hard that I already came up with a proper name for it, the Devastated. I will try my best to explain this bizarre mishmash of feelings. But first, let's talk numbers. Starting with performance. This is the second fastest supercar, and the 10th supercar in lap times. And so we find ourselves in a similar situation to the X80. Good top speed, and poor cornering. But it's still not as bad as you think, as this is a solid candidate for the stunt racing. For the looks, this car is super sleek, and looks exactly like its real-life counterpart. Precisely. Too good to be true. Third and most importantly, the price. At $1.795 million. You can buy it, then fully upgrade it, then buy a dump, and still have some pocket change to spare, at the same price of the newly released RSX without the trade price. Which, to be honest, that's going to be another one on my shit list of cars. So, do you know what time this is? It's a makeover time. Be back in a flash. And here she is. And she is over 9,000. So, have you ever heard of Devel? The Emirati supercar manufacturer in Dubai. Honestly, it hardly matters if you remember or not at this point. But I do commend you if you do. The year is 2013, and Dubai Motor Show is on the road. And we were greeted with one of the most ambitious projects of all time, the Devel 16. And in spite of how cool as fuck this idea was, it left so many people with a sour taste of bullshit in their mouth, because the numbers they claimed were absolutely ludicrous, perhaps even laughable. They could have at least promised for something believable. In case they underperformed, fans and customers wouldn't be so disappointed. And if they were to go above and beyond to achieve these ludicrous numbers, everyone would love it even more. But what happened is exactly what happens in every E3 press conference: overpromising and under-delivering. Speaking of E3, Gameloft did not want the chance of capitalizing on the hype around the car before it inevitably fade away. So they bought the right to put it in their game for a quick cash grab. Genius. So, you might think that it's a good sign for them to show up once again in Dubai Motor Show 2018. Right? Well, think again. All they did was doubling down on their lies, just to avoid bad publicity. You know, the only move that would make sense from a business standpoint. And they found the right opportunity to do so as well. The year is 2018. And at this point, the social media has evolved so much that any moron with a microphone and a camera can start rambling any incoherent shit. And people would simply watch and think that this is the right opinion just because he or she has a large number of followers and subscribers. Exhibit A. Supercar Blondie. I will start with what I know for sure. And that is that this girl knows absolutely dog shit about cars. And despite that, she has one of the most successful car-related channels. But God forbid, it is not down to her knowledge or her formidable expertise in the automotive industry, but it's rather less complicated than it actually is. You see, if you are a car guy, you are most likely interested in girls and cars. And when there is a video about a pretty girl driving around in a lot of supercars, a lot of car guys like getting down with that. Especially younger ones. An easy formula for easy views. How convenient. Now let's talk about the real car. This car is powered by a 12.3-litre 5,000 horsepower V16 engine, which is basically two LS engines welded together in lengthwise, which is the reason why this car is an extra long boy. So, if anyone with common sense about cars saw this cringe fest of a conference, would immediately call bullshit for the simple reason that it simply doesn't make sense. Because if you want to break the speed world record, you can't do it with just adding more cylinders and more power. You will have to talk about aerodynamics, tire technology, safety countermeasures, and simply a lot of shit that is more important than the number of power and cylinders this vehicle has. And what I think came to Alitar's mind, that it's possible to make a consumer version of the top fuel dragster. For you who don't know, a top fuel dragster is simply a massive Hemi V8 engine that only consumes pure nitromethane for fuel, and also has barely any chassis, and two massive thick boy tires on the back, capable of putting up to 10,000 horsepower, and a top speed of 300 plus miles per hour. Now this is a proof that the target numbers are achievable, and the idea itself is brilliant, although very stupid, because of the amount of heat output these vehicles produce. It's absolutely necessary to have full pit crew to literally rebuild this car for every quarter mile. So if you want to transform this car into a consumer version, customers will basically have to buy a new car for every time they go to the drag strip, which is a massive bra moment. Seriously. That's a 2020 level bullshit. So that's about does it for me, lads. I hope you all enjoyed. In the next video, we will be reviewing this electric supercar and how it's influenced by Lamborghini's most ambitious projects, but also another one of Supercar Blondie's most notorious bra moments. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay healthy, hydrated, and one love.